Today I will be talking about Bill 212 and how bike lanes are at risk, and some of the comments from the community, business associations, mails, and I'll also look at some of the news articles. The first item is from the Environmental Registry, which is um, a registry of items that the government or businesses have that have environmental impacts. Let's see, where was I? So if I go to this one, Bill 212, Reducing Gridlock, Saving You Time Act, 20. Oh, I have to transition it to the right one. Yeah, there I am. So I am at the Bill 212, Reducing Gridlock, Saving You Time Act, 2024, Framework for Bike Lanes that Require Removal of a Traffic Lane. And this is what the government is proposing. There was news that these decisions were made prior to receiving any feedback, and this was posted on October 31st, 2024. Oh, and you can comment on this until November 20th, 2024. That's 30 days. Well, there's 30 days total. It was posted on October 21st, but updated on October 31st. And this has a number of 019-9266. They are proposing to move sections of the Bloor Street, Yonge Street, and University Avenue bike lanes in the city of Toronto. And the legislation would give authority to establish a review process on other existing bike lanes. And then they include irrelevant details such as speeding up the delivery of broadband projects, internet. So that's I don't understand what that has to do with this notice. They have prescribed municipalities. Toronto is one. I don't know what the other municipalities are. I tried looking at that, but it doesn't say anywhere that I could see. And then the prescribed municipalities would be required to seek provincial approval to allow for the implementation of new bicycle lanes that require the removal of an existing lane of traffic. And I hope that you listen to the podcast that I made a couple weeks ago. I had an interview with Bike, and those implications, negative implications of removing bike lanes that we'll discuss in detail in that episode of Environmental Soup, which I also have on YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, and then the proposal would also, there would be authority to require municipalities to submit information about existing bike lanes on municipal roads where an existing vehicle was removed. So I'll go to the next item. Just transitioning fields. So this is the legislation, Bill 212, which is called an act to enact two acts and amend various acts with respect to highways, broadband, related exploitation, and other transportation related matters by the Minister of Transportation. It's gone through the first reading, and then those different schedules. I might get into the Building Highways Fossil Act, or maybe Schedule 2 I might get into. But this episode will focus on bike lanes. Schedule 4, those different schedules in this act. It's multiple acts. This is called the Highway Traffic Act, and it's amended to require ministry approval before municipalities may construct bicycle lanes in certain circumstances, and to require municipalities to provide the ministry with information, including information related to bicycle lanes. And I look for Schedule 4. It says what talks about bikes. In this piece of legislation, it's bicycle lanes. So I'm looking at Schedule 4 and Part XII, so that's 7, municipal bylaws and bicycle lanes. And then it says Part 7 of the Act is amended by adding the following section. Section 195.2. A municipality shall not construct, and shall means that they have to do it. May is flimsy language. There's a significant difference between those two words. Install or mark a bicycle lane on a highway or part of a highway under its jurisdiction and control unless the designation for the bicycle lane has been approved by the ministry. And as definitions are important, I will look up what a highway is under the Highway Traffic Act. So Highway Traffic Act. I didn't think about this before recording this episode, but I know definitions all play a significant role in interpreting legislation. So I'm in the Highway Traffic Act, and they should have highway defined. Okay. And let's see. Highway includes a common and public highway, street, avenue, parkway, driveway, square, place, bridge, viaduct, or trestle, any part of which is intended for or used by the general public for the passage of vehicles and includes the area between lateral property lines thereof. So it's not just a highway in terms of what people think about when they hear the word highway. Like most people think about highways, or many people might think highways and think like 401, 407, things like that. But this includes streets, and then the city of Peterborough might be impacted. I don't know if they are or not. The regulations will show that. So I'll go back to where it was. Let's see. And then it says the design for bicycle lane would. Oh, this section applies where the design for bicycle lane would reduce the number of marked lanes available for travel by motor vehicle traffic along any portion of or on either side of the highway where the bicycle lane is to be located. And then the ministry is prescribed by regulation for the purposes of the subsection. Other than Toronto, it's not clear which cities will be impacted by this piece of legislation in terms of bike lanes. And then it says, in circumstances described in subsection 6, the ministry may require a municipality to prove traffic information related to an existing bicycle lane on a highway under its jurisdiction and control, and the municipality shall comply with the request. Subsection 5 applies where the addition of the bicycle lane is reduced, the number of marked lanes for travel by motor vehicle traffic along any portion of or on either side of the highway where the bicycle lane is located, and the ministry is prescribed for the purposes of this section. And I think that's all that I highlighted. And then it's saying that the Minister of, I think, Transportation can make regulations specifying what regulations can be made. And then I think I'll go to transition. Oh, this is the Ontario's regulatory registry. And that's another area where you can provide feedback on legislation. Um, the I usually go to the uh, environmental registry first, because I comment on often comment on environmental legislation, but there's also the Ontario Regulatory Registry, which is similar. Um, they're proposing the it says that the Ontario government is proposing an addendum to the framework that would require the province to remove sections of Bloor Yonge Street, University Avenue. And then I think that's what I highlighted. This has the number of 24-MT0018. And you can comment on that until November 20th, 2024. And then there's an address, Planning Policy Office, 438 University Avenue, 12th floor, Toronto, Ontario, M5G2K8. And yeah, so, oh, sorry about that. I didn't change the screen back. So this is Ontario Registry. Let's see. We'll change that back. And then there's a similar piece of legislation related to the Reducing Gridlock Saving You Time Act 2024, Building Highways Faster Act. It has number 019-9265. And you can comment on that until November 20th. And then I think, yeah, it's the same act. And then there's another one about Highway 413. But I might, if I run out of time for this episode, I'll talk about it separately. Let's see. So I'll go to this. So this is comments from the Bloor Annex Business Improvement Association. And this is, they're saying that monthly customer spending and number of customers in the Bloor Annex increased after bike lanes were installed. It says rental vacancy in the Bloor Annex have not changed in 8 years since the bike lane installation. Road safety for all users has improved since the installation, resulting in fewer fatalities and better road safety outcomes for all users. And there was no evidence of increased emergency response times due to bike lanes, according to the Toronto paramedics and the Toronto Fire, to cities' infrastructure and environment. And then they say that bike lanes reduce congestion. And um, they do say that bike lanes on residential street would have a negative impact on street parking for residents. I'm not sure about that, but um, I do support bike lanes on residential streets as well, but I'm not in that area. But this is what the business association is saying. Um, and then and that's from their Instagram page. They're also saying they on people saying on Reddit. There's a Reddit page about this. Um, I didn't highlight anything, so I'll go on to the next page. Oh, BIA warns removal of bike lanes would be disastrous by Toronto Today staff, October 23rd, 2024. They said that removing the lanes on Bloor would be disastrous to the neighborhood. And that's what I highlighted there. Then I have another, I found another article. This one is from CBC. Doug Ford makes several exaggerated claims about Toronto bike lanes. And this was before the legislation was introduced. And I found that it's important to listen to press conferences. I I found CPAC covers many of them, and then there's a YouTube channel of the Premier. So some of them were covered by CPAC, and some were covered by the Office of the Premier. Because that hints at what comes. This article was by Wakal Raverdram, September 24th, 2024, in CBC. And then at a news conference, Doug Ford made exaggerated claims about emergency response, and then the article saying that they were debunked. Oh, sorry about that. I dropped my mic. And then there was a claim, talk to our first responders that are putting the hail out the fire trucks that can't get across the road because those barriers or those bike lanes, and they're backed up. Talk to a police that are trying to get a call out to paramedics. That's an absolute disaster. It's a nightmare. That's what Doug Ford said. And then CBC was saying that emergency services did not raise concerns about bike lanes, and they have, quote, emergency services are accustomed to maneuvering through a variety of road conditions throughout the city on a daily basis and will continue to take the route that provides the fastest response based on the specific conditions of at the time of dispatch. Let's see. And then there was an analysis of emergency response times, and this is related to the Bloor Street West Complete Street Extension project, and they included installing cycle tracks separated by concrete curbs, bollards, and planters. And after the and then the article saying that after the project was installed, fire's response time in the area increased by 30 seconds compared with the same period in 2022. They do say citywide for the same period, fire response times increased by 2 seconds. Will gets paramedics. Their time increased by 42 seconds in the area compared to before the project. However, response times for the entire city also increased by 45 seconds over the same period. The chiefs of Toronto paramedics and Toronto Fire said that there was no evidence of increased emergency response times as a result of bike lanes installed in Midtown Toronto. And then those other claims that were made, but they don't impact traffic as much as claimed. There is another article from CBC. Ontario says bike lanes cause gridlock. These people don't roll with that, by Victor Vegas Alvarez on October 20th, 2024. And then there's a quote, cars not bikes cause congestion. One of the councillors in Toronto said, the province is not prepared to undertake the research necessary for municipalities to determine whether or not to install bike lane. There are a lot of people who don't own cars. And that's another comment that was made at a press conference. Doug Ford disputed that there are people that don't own cars and used outdated data that also included municipalities that were not in Toronto, like the suburbs. Then there was another quote, bike lanes ridership might decline during the winter usage, but will increase over time, and safety is a year-round concern. And then there's a reminder that cyclists were killed, and bike lanes do save people's lives. There's another article, this time from CBC by Nicole Mortello, October 22nd, 2024. Do bike lanes really cause more traffic congestion? Do bike lanes really cause more traffic congestion? Here's what the research says. And then it says, build it, they will come. The article talks about induced demand. I didn't really highlight anything in this article. But it does talk about induced demand and that ridership has increased. Bike Show Toronto, so according to this article, um, that shared bikes has increased dramatically since 2016, when 665,000 bike trips were made annually, and now it's 5.7 million trips. And then there was a study from the European Commission's CIVITAS program in 2016 that looked at several cities around the world, and they showed that New York City in 2010, before bike lanes were installed on one major um, intersection, cars took 4.5 minutes to travel from 96th to 77th Street. After the bike lanes were installed, it took 3 minutes, which is a 35% decrease. Um, and then there is also an installation of a left turn lane, uh, which kept cyclists moving but also stopped cars. Um, and then they talk about Copenhagen. And then when Copenhagen introduced the Green Wave to encourage cycling, the large number of bicycles made it easier for necessary basic modal transport to get through the city more easily. And then those other studies that found no impact or minimal delays. And then Paris saw a 54% increase in bike usage from 2018 to 2019 and saw 5% decrease in vehicle use. Yeah, so I did highlight in the Knowall newspaper, Ontario's new bill hits gas on Highway 413 and puts the brakes on bike lanes, by Emma McIntosh, October 23rd, 2024. And I'll focus on the bike lane part of the article. So there's a section, Ontario is adding red tape to bike lanes and maybe removing existing ones. Includes measures to restrict where bike lanes can be built in Ontario. And the government added that the mechanism was proposed. The government added a mechanism on the bill on Halloween. And then this is where I said that the decision was already made. Ford told, this from the article, Ford told Global News the decision to remove 3 Toronto bike lanes has already been made, not just the ones on Bloor University, but on Yonge Street. It's a done deal, Ford told Global the day after the government introduced the bill. And then there's been backlash from Mayor Olivia Chow, and the Associations of Municipalities of Ontario. And I agree with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. It says province to introduce legislation governing bike lanes. It says I highlighted two areas: bicycle lanes or social element of open transportation planning and road safety. Requiring provincial approval would be a significant overreach into municipal jurisdiction. And then it is unclear how the Ministry of Transportation will be in a better position than municipalities to make decisions about local transportation matters. Rather than micromanaging bike lanes, the Ministry of Transportation could focus on accelerating its own approval process to help support new housing. And it is ridiculous what the province is doing. They are undermining the rights of municipalities, or the governments. Oh, that's sort of. And then there's I do not support limiting city powers. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow pushes back against Ford's government plans to restrict bike lanes. And by Devin Benfield. Did I highlight anything in this article? Oh, I just highlighted some. So I will look at the next article. Which is from Environmental Defense. What Ontario stands to lose in Premier's Ford push for more cars everywhere. And then there's a heading: do more highways and less bikes lanes actually reduce gridlock? And then according to this article, the answer is no. And encourages more people to drive, and talks about induced demand. And then talks about like urban sprawl. Homes would be forced. The development would be forced to. People in the development would be forced to drive. And then talks about it would be bad for business as well. And then let's see. Yeah, well, it looks like I have gone over time. So I'll have to do some editing. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week. And enjoy your day.